Man,
And
here we
then
go.
it's recording. Now I got to add it to live on Facebook, and it takes about 30 or 40 seconds, but I will tell you exactly when we are live on Facebook.
All right.
A new tie, Braden?
Fairly new. Just got it for me.
It's nice.
Thank you. Oh wow, that's cool.
I think it says it's streaming now.
Yeah, look at that. That's cool. I didn't know you could do that.
You're way more high tech than I am, that's for sure.
Okay, we are live. Welcome to celebrating Peoria area's rich basketball history. Youngsters these days need to do their homework. Well, here is another lesson. This is what I call Bisping family values. And the family values is basketball. So with me right now is a family that I absolutely adore and I've known for about 10 plus years now. So I got to say hello to the matriarch and the patriarch of the family, Todd Bisping, and his lovely wife, Linda. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, Curley. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. And then I got the elder. I've got Brooke. What's going on, Brooke Bisping?
Hi, how?
Brooke Bisping Rush.
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Then the next in line, I got Big Brett. What's up, Big Brett?
How's it going, Curly? Good to see you.
You as well, brother. And I got Braden. I don't think me and Braden have had the pleasure of meeting before, but good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having us.
All right. Then the baby of the bunch, Baby Bis. How you doing? And hold on before I say that. Congratulations on another Player of the Week award in the conference. That is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you got kind of a little rest time before the tournament. Is that right?
Yeah, we play on Tuesday. So
Oh,
we
you
got
play tomorrow?
No, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So rest the legs a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to watch your games online, and I'm very, very happy to see your success.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Well, okay, the Bisping family. We have to go back here. We are at the present, but we got to go back. And I did my little research. I knew a little bit, but then I found out quite a few things about Mama and Papa Bisping. And I will let Linda go first. Please take us back. Take us back to Kansas, to Kansas, Dorothy. I mean, not Dorothy, but Linda. Take us back to Kansas. Tell us how you grew up, how you got involved in the game of basketball, because you were a baller your doggone self.
Little bit, yeah. I grew up in a small town, 1,500 people,
Wow.
but grew up outside of the town, just a mile. We could walk to school if we wanted to and stuff, but on a farm. So I grew up with three sisters and a brother. And we just learned early on to work hard on the farm. Back then, you didn't start playing, you maybe played softball in the summer, but you didn't play.
What kind of farmers were you?
Grain farmers, cattle, hogs.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a mixture of stuff. But yeah, we didn't play basketball or volleyball till we were 7th grade. So just 7th grade, they threw you out there and you started learning. So there was none of this AAU running around like that. Yeah. So, yeah, but I had my two sisters that are younger than me. They were just boom, boom. We were 1 year after, after each other. So we played sports together for quite a few years, and that was the best, playing with them.
So what are their names? You want to give a shout out to your sisters?
Yeah, Jeanette and Teresa, and Michael is my brother, and then Barbara, my little sister.
Okay. So did you guys have Kansas, they always talk about Indiana, everyone has a hoop on the garage or on the barn or whatever. Was that the same for you guys? Did you guys have a hoop in the driveway or?
We had one on the garage.
Okay.
You plastered them right up on the garage back then, and
Okay.
that. And later on, actually, as we were having kids and stuff, then my dad got one, a freestanding one out on yeah.
So I saw that you were an all area performer along with your sister, Jeanette.
Yep, Jeanette.
I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah.
And how special was that to share that, share the court with your sister? Because I thought I saw that you and two of your sisters were 3 of the 5 starters. Is that correct?
Yeah, we were. My senior year, my junior year, starting my junior year and senior year, we were all on the court together. So it was awesome. We had, those were some of the best memories we had. Even like me and Jeanette, I remember my 8th grade year, BBL tournament. And that was like the highlight of, until then, that's all we had. So, but I remember coming home from that, and We Are the Champions came on, and we started and yeah. And that's back then, you couldn't request your song to come on.
All right. Well, was there ever any animosity from other team members? Because you got 3 sisters, and I'm pretty sure that you guys on a 3-on-2 break, that if you're coming down, you got one sister on the left and the other sister on the right, the trailer is not going to be getting the ball. Is that about right?
Yeah. No, actually, some of our best friends were the other basketball players. So we were all just like a family back then.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was awesome playing with them. They were actually, went on to play volleyball at Bethany College, and my brother played football at Nebraska. He was a punter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So who was recruiting you? Tell us about that shoebox of money that you got to go wherever you went.
I just didn't have any interest to move on and do anything after.
You turned down all that money.
Yeah, it was just different back then. People weren't going to see us out there in rural Kansas.
Okay.
Unless you made it to state or something, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue over to the guy to your left. Speaking of state, Todd, you were the one that kind of laid the blueprint for going to state in the family. And I saw that your senior year, I can't remember what town you were from, but please tell us, take us back and tell us who put the ball in your crib growing up and gave you the love that made you an all-stater.
Oh, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, we grew up both in rural Kansas in the same county. She grew up in the big city, of over 1,000 people. I grew up 10 miles from a town of 400. So it was pretty remote where I was at. But, that's all we did in the summer was, work and play sports. And so we played every sport. So we loved them all. So it was like you just switched from one to the other, from football to basketball to track to baseball, and you just start all over again. Right. And had a really good group of friends, and we really enjoyed all the sports, to be honest with you. But basketball was always the one that was kind of my favorite, and the one that if I spent extra time on, it was usually on basketball. And my mom and dad enjoyed watching sports. And even though my dad was more of a football player than a basketball player, I remember we had a hoop up in our shed that wasn't 10 foot tall though. And so he actually poured a little concrete outside in front of our house for the drive and stuck a pole in there for me. So the whole stories of standing out shooting baskets in your gloves in the winter is really a lot of truth to those old stories, because that's how we did it. And we just went on and kept getting better. And next thing you know, we ended up at state and won the whole thing. So,
Well, you just jumped right to the championship. Tell us about the magical year that you guys had, because
yeah.
did you go undefeated?
So we lost one game. Yeah, we
Okay.
went 23-1, and we lost one game. The year before, I remember we had some sickness. In fact, I had mono, which all my kids ended up doing as well, and I missed.
Wow.
But then the end of my junior year, we made a run. I think we lost all our games in the first half of the conference, but then we were all healthy and we went undefeated in the second half of conference and went all the way into, our state tournament and ended up losing we had a last second shot to win it and lost.
Oh, wow.
State champion. And so that kind of fueled our fire a little bit that, hey, we could be pretty good, because almost our entire team came back except for one key guy. And then we really set a goal we wanted to go to state. And that was all our focus, was to go to state. So we actually did some summer workouts, which we really never had time to do in Kansas, because you couldn't do it till after you were done working at 9 o'clock. So we tried to do some of that. And when the season started, we just really put a focus on it, made some extra commitments, and the winning started. And we just kept winning. And I remember when we won what we would call our sub-state, which would be like a super sectional, go to state, that was kind of the achievement of our goal. But I remember room afterwards, I was talking to our coach, and I said, "Coach, does it feel as good as you thought?" And he goes, "Well, I thought it would feel better, but I really think we could win it all." And that was a good life lesson for me, because that really, I hadn't really learned to stop and reset a goal. And I went home that night and I was happy, but I remember thinking, Coach Jensen was right. I'm not sure anybody can beat us. And then sure enough, we went to state. You had to play 3 games at our state, and the first game we were up by 4 and the power went off with 58 seconds left. Whole building went dark. One of the kids pulled a fire alarm or something in the hallway and shut the whole place down. So we had to wait for 34 minutes to play the last 58 seconds. But we pulled that one out and just kept going on, and we really weren't challenged. And next thing you know, we were the champs, and it was great. And it was a great feeling. And I always get to do it as well. And Brandy finally came through for me there at the end. So the rest of the kids got the ball.
That's awesome, man. I saw that, your stats for that year, and very impressive. And to play center at 6'2", did you have those type of hops? Were you jumping center as well?
Well, you know what? I mean, you look at me as an old fat man now, Curly, but back in the day, I was built more like Braden, and I had a better vertical than any of these 4. So I definitely had a better vertical than any of these 4. And in fact, one of my bits of fame was
from back then.
Yeah. One of my bits of fame was right after Daryl Dawkins broke a backboard, I broke one. And so he got a lot of fame for it. I got in a lot of trouble. But
I understand. I understand that. Believe it. So both of you went to Kansas State University.
Yep.
Did you guys know each other in high school?
Well, Curly, it's like this. When you grow up in a county of 1,000 people, you know all the pretty girls in the whole county. So, Linda was not only famous for being a good athlete, but, she was, she was other things too. And so I had my eye on her. She probably can't say the same about me, of course, because, I only caught her because I was lucky she had a low self-esteem at the time. But,
damn.
But, so that worked out good for me. So, yeah, we both ended up at Kansas State then. And then that's where we really dated all through college and got married right after.
So, okay, so you're in Kansas, but how do you end up in Central Illinois? At what point did you guys move to Central Illinois?
Yeah, so right when I graduated college, I'm an engineer by training, and Linda was working for the USDA, and Caterpillar came calling. They came actually on campus.
Okay.
And said, "Hey, we're looking for some engineers," and so we went to Peoria, and we were actually trying to decide whether we wanted to be farmers in Kansas or do something else. And we thought, well, we can always be farmers. Let's try this job thing for a while. And we really made a lot of good friends, and both in the community and our churches. And so we just never left. What we thought might be 3 or 4 years turned out to be 30.
Wow. So, okay. Let's segue into the kids, and I got to go to the elder. And Brooke, what was it like growing up in I guess, is your address actually Morton? Because I remember one time, as you guys know, or many people know, Brooke is runs my girls' basketball camp basically, and I had to drop some posters or something off at your home. This is probably 7-8 years ago. And I remember, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Am I in Morton? Right? I know this ain't the Morton that I know. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Whew, let me hurry up and drop these posters and get the heck out. But I went by there and I saw that it was a rural area, like a old country road. And then I saw the famous building in the back. But I was there late at night, so I didn't get a chance to see the place. But what was it like, Brooke, growing up in the Bisping household? So I already know that the basketball was in your crib.
It sure was. Yeah, no. So we actually I grew up for most of my childhood until 8th grade. We lived in Deer Creek, which is even more rural than what you saw when you dropped off the posters. And Dad actually, we didn't have a big barn that had a basketball hoop in it, but Dad poured some concrete. Gosh, I don't know how old I was when he did that, but I was pretty young. And he poured some concrete and put up a basketball hoop. And that's kind of my first memories of playing baskets consistently, because we could just go outside and shoot on the hoop outside. And so it was pretty awesome. So we spent a lot of hours out there. But then when we moved to Morton, that's when Dad kind of built the infamous B-dome, where we had the indoor barn that Dad poured slab with our neighbor Mark, and we kind of turned that horse barn into a basketball shed. And I'm forever grateful for that, because it was cold in the winter, but warm enough that we could get up a lot of shots. And I know all 4 of us did get up a lot of shots in that dome, and we wouldn't be the players we were today, or were today, if we hadn't done that. But I don't know. It wasn't that I ever felt pressured to play basketball, though. Even though, we joke we had a basketball in our crib, Mom and Dad were really good at, letting us choose what we wanted to do and try it out. I played a lot of different sports. I did, basketball, volleyball. I played baseball with the boys. I played softball. I played soccer, track and field. So I feel like I did almost everything. And, even in high school, we weren't forced to play. It was really, what we wanted to do. They just asked that we played as hard as we could in whatever area we chose to go into. So, as silly as we say we had a basketball in our crib, sure we did, because Mom and Dad liked basketball, and, Mom liked volleyball, and they're my first, real coaches that I remember being there all the time. But that was the awesome thing, is I never felt like I had to play, or Mom and Dad would be so upset with me. I really got to choose and what I wanted to do and where I wanted to grow.
Well, I do know, is it at Bethel?
Yeah, go ahead, Brooke.
What was that? I didn't hear you, Curley.
And you went to Bethel, and from what I'm told, that Todd, you coached her at Bethel.
Yeah. So in fact, Linda helped coach the volleyball team, and I coached the basketball team for everybody but Braden. I coached Braden's baseball team because there was already a basketball coach there, but I coached his baseball team, but I coached all the other kids' basketball teams there at Bethel, and that was a great experience as well. With a little smaller school, but at the same time, we had a lot of fun doing it.
So what was that like, Brooke, having your dad as a coach at Bethel, and him coaching you during the practice and in the game, and then having to go home and eat dinner with him?
It really gave me some tough skin. I will say that. I'm sure all of us siblings can attest to that. It's kind of, it was a joke when I was at Bethel. My dad would give out awards at the end of every season. And, one would be a funny one, and one would be like an actual one, best free throw percentage, yada, yada. And one year, my funny one was the verbal abuse award, because Dad was a yeller. And my friends always felt so bad because Dad would yell at me. But one thing I remember, mom and I talking about and dad and I talking about is to learn what your coaches are saying, not necessarily how they're saying it to you.
Oh, wow.
And take and learn, listen to that and use that, and don't let those emotions get all wrapped up. And that wasn't something that clicked right away. I mean, I would be very, very upset when dad would yell, but that was the other thing. And the other big thing, I do remember a conversation dad and I actually had. We were sitting down one day and he was like, you're my daughter, I can yell at you. And I'm hoping that other people learn through hearing what I'm saying to you, that people hear and listen. And so that kind of helped me also learn, if coach is yelling at someone else, listen to what they're saying, and learn, so that way I can learn from others too, just like dad was using me to help others learn from what he was saying to me.
How successful were you at Bethel?
Golly, that was so long ago. Did we go to state? We went to state, but I think we got like 7th or 13th or something. Nothing great.
She don't
You
remember.
remember
We were
some
the
of the-
first team. We were the
I'm
first
sorry.
team to go to state, and we got 5th place.
Oh, there you go. First team to go.
So who were some of the players that you balled with in grade school? You want to give a shout out to some of the girls you balled with?
Oh, sure. Golly. Laura Farney, she went on to play volleyball, and I don't know why Elizabeth Canella is sticking in my head right now, and Maggie McMurtry and Mariah Peterson, and golly, am I missing any? I'm missing, I'm sure, a lot. Alita Anderson, she went to Bethel. Golly, those were the ones that are just jumping into my head right now. But there were so many. The cool thing was, though, Bethel was small, and I'm thinking right now of like junior high years. We were just starting to develop the junior high at Bethel. Was like some of my first years were the first years of the junior high. So we didn't have a big team. So we'd have 6th graders playing on the, up with the junior high, and, dad jokes. Even when I was as young as I think 3rd grade, I ended up playing up because we didn't have enough girls. So I had to play up in other divisions. And so I think that really prepared me for, I was always playing against older people. So I was always ready for that next step going forward.
We have a great picture of Brooke with a jump ball when she's like in 3rd grade. This great big girl picks the ball up, and Brooke is hanging from the ball. She wouldn't let go of it. She was just hanging there and like 2 feet off the ground. This girl's looking, what are you doing?
Well, you get to Morton High School, and you play for Bob Becker early in his career, and now you're not being coached by your father anymore. What was that transition like?
I don't want to say it was easy, because coach is not an easy coach, but it was just so different because coach is a yeller, but like, no offense, I can handle a lot of yelling coming from Coach Bisping, so yelling didn't really get to me. But I mean, so it wasn't easy, but it was just different, and coach developed a lot of different skills. My dad, I will credit him, that was my shooting form. He really helped, get that down. And I think he did that with a lot of my siblings, get my shooting form down. And I was a great shooter, but coach really helped develop a lot of those other areas of my game too, my defense, my passing, being a good teammate and things like that. So, he's a Hall of Fame coach, and, I can attest, I have so many good memories of him. I don't know. He's so good. It's awesome that I got to see it as a player, but also now I get to see it as a coach, how he is really good at getting the most out of all the different types of players that he has, when Tracy Pontius was there, when I played with her, she could have been like the leading scorer of Morton High School. She totally could have been. And coach really got her, though, to buy in and help make our team the first team to go to state. And so I think that was so cool that, he's always been good at that, but it's really neat to see it now as a coach, that how he just pulls the best and gets the most out of all of the players that he has. And I think he did the same with me. And that's what got me a scholarship, was he was able to, challenge me in areas that I never expected to be challenged in. I never thought I would play in the post. But I played in the post my senior year, And I actually ended up playing in the post in college, and I never would have been able to do that if coach hadn't challenged me to do that and said, please get in there and start banging with the bigs. So like I said, he really helped round out my game and make me a better overall player to prepare me for my college career.
Well, you sure had a legendary career at Morton, all-time leading scorer, rebounder as well. And,
no, that's Brandy.
Oh, Brandy now. My
Yeah,
bad.
that's Brandy.
My bad. You know,
Don't steal that from her.
my bad. And you were two-time Peoria Journal Star, large player of the year. And you guys took fourth place, I believe, your sophomore season.
Mm-hmm.
And, incredible career. So with that being said, how did it feel now that you've done all of this, that you got these college choices? What were your choices for college?
Well, so, it's kind of funny. I have obviously all these basketball memories, but looking back, it was a hard decision too. I loved volleyball. And so I struggled with, do I want to play volleyball or basketball for a little bit? Because, in volleyball season, I was like, I really want to be a setter in college. I want to. And I think I decided, basketball was a smarter route for me to go. And I did have more opportunities. I don't remember everywhere I had offers from. Dad probably knows that better than me. But Western maybe, SEMO, ISU, Bradley, obviously, UIC was one. So I had probably 5 offers on the table, and I went on official visits. Oh, Creighton, I guess, was one too that I did have an offer from, and I went and visited all those places, and obviously ended up on Bradley. I loved that it was close to home, but I also had really good vibes from a lot of the girls when I was there. I'm still friends with quite a few of them, and they were just good people. That I got to hang out with on that official visit, and kind of thought, okay, like this is a place that I can make a home. And it really was for those 4 years. Okay.
The number 13, I saw that Brett wore that number. I know that Brandy did. I think Braden, 22?
Yep.
13 was
22.
taken.
Now, Todd, I saw the black and white picture from your state championship. You're wearing number 31. Is there a story about the 1 and the 3? 13 was a lucky number for your kids. What's the story, the backstory on the 3 and the 1 and the 3?
Yeah, and so when I was a kid, I always I wasn't real superstitious, and everyone would always say 13's an unlucky number. And when I was in grade school, my first team, I said, I think 13's a lucky number. And so I started wearing 13 when I was in grade school. And I wore it all the way into high school until I made it to the varsity. And that coach said, what number you want? And I said, 13. He goes, we don't have a 13.
Oh.
I ended up being 31 because it was the inverse of 13. But then when the kids started playing in grade school, I brainwashed them into picking 13. And it became our family number a little bit as we went along through the years. Not every team in every sport or every year even. Like Braden said, 13 was never available for him to use because someone else always had it. But they took it. So that's kind of the history of 13. It's our lucky family number.
I see.
Of course, Linda's a little bitter that 34 didn't get used very often because that was her number.
Yeah, I kept saying 4. They'd always say 13, except Brett did 34 in Japan.
Okay. Well, speaking of Brett, take us back, man.
How far you want to go back, Curley?
Oh, well, your maturation as a ball player, we already kind of know that your parents were the influence, and you got a big sister. What was those battles like against Brooke? I'm pretty sure you guys had one-on-one battles and shooting battles in the barn. Is there a name of the barn? Is there actually a name of it? Is it called something?
I think we put something in the cement. Yeah.
B-dome. B-dome is what we have in the cement.
Okay. All right.
But we just call it the barn.
All
The
right.
barn. Yeah. No, I just don't remember life without basketball, to be honest. It's just always been there, and I always liked it. So I was just kind of lucky that way that my family liked it too, I guess. So
Right.
it wasn't that I didn't have a choice. It was just what we did. And and I liked it. So kept playing and yeah, I mean, that's about as simple as it gets, I guess. We got pictures of me dunking on the Michael Jordan mini hoop as a kid. And I was like, I was there. But so it's literally been forever that it's been a thing in our family.
I have a funny story, Curly.
Do tell.
Oh, no.
Okay. So it's about me and Brett because you asked about one-on-one. And Brett and I played a game of one-on-one every year growing up. And of course, I won every year. Up until he got to be 6'9", and I remember I brought him over to Bradley and tried to play one-on-one, and I think I got one shot up without being swatted.
No
And
mercy,
then
huh?
I never played him again.
We had taken like a 10-year hiatus from the one.
We might have taken a little hiatus. He started growing, and I just was like, "Yeah, we'll try next year." And then the next time we played, I just got demolished.
You had to be shocked that he shot up to 6'9". Didn't you, Linda and Todd?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. We're not sure where he came from. 6, that's crazy.
Yeah, he came out big and just kept growing. So he was always big, and then we thought he'd stop, but nope. Next thing you know, he's like 6'8" or 6'9", and sometimes those recessive genes come out.
Yeah. Well, the first Bisping that I met was Brett. You know, I started the boys basketball camp, and Brett worked for me for 2 years, I believe, and then I had a chance to see you play. I don't know if this was your junior or senior year. You guys were in the sectional and at Ottawa, and I was in town, drove over to Ottawa and saw one of the greatest basketball games I'd ever saw, and a great comeback by you guys against Richwoods, and you guys fell short. Was that your junior or senior year?
That would have been my junior year.
Okay,
Yeah,
with
thanks.
Tyler Lundeen and
Yeah.
Taphorn and Drake was on the team.
Okay, that would have been the year before.
That was your sophomore year, I think.
Sophomore year. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's right. Sophomore year. Yeah.
So how close did you go? How close did you come to going to state? Was that the year that you went the furthest?
The next year, it was still Tyler Lundeen's senior year, my junior year. We
Right.
lost. It was a super, wasn't it? Super sectional, I think.
Yep.
Rough game. I had a bad turnover. We lost. I don't want to talk about it, Curly.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. But it was a close game. And it was a good game up until the end. We played a real physical game the game before, and then complete opposite the next game. We got into some foul trouble we weren't used to, and it was, yeah. And then that team went on. They ended up getting second, I think.
Yeah, they lost in overtime in the state championship.
Yeah, so it was a good game. Good team, though.
Well,
So-
who was recruiting you? I mean, you went way out east to Siena, out
Yeah.
to upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken. Who was after you at that time?
I had an offer from Southern Illinois at Edwardsville, Lehigh, and Siena, and that was it.
Wow.
So, and Siena was the last one I got, and I jumped on it because that was the best one I got. Lehigh, they were a good school. They were kind of pushing like I was thinking about being an engineer, and I really didn't want to do that. So it's a nice campus out there though. But Siena, they play in front of a lot of fans. I mean, they average like 8,000 a game.
It's in Albany, correct?
Yep, Albany, New York. So I just really liked, I don't know, good people. They had some rich basketball history, good following, fans, good people. Like the town, not big, not too big, but big enough. So yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. Once I had that offer, we went out and saw the place.
Cool. Braden, take us back, man. What's it like growing up Bisping?
All I can really remember is just dominating my siblings on the court from day one. That's all it's ever really been, really. Yeah, kind of like what Brett said, basketball's always been a fixture in our family, and I always loved it, and I always loved going to the games and watching them play and playing. I mean, it was like, I really want to piggyback off what Brooke said about, like the basketball and the crib thing. That's the joke, but I mean, I, without a doubt, was like, I always loved basketball the most and just really enjoyed playing it. The competition, loved watching it, loved watch on my siblings play, still love watching them play. When you have with someone in the game, you literally have skin in the game. And I just always loved watching them. And I always felt like that motivated me to keep playing and to want to keep playing and to keep working harder and all that stuff. And like I remember all those games too, just as well as they do. Like I remember the super sectional game. I remember all Brooks Bradley games. I remember a lot of those. I remember being in the stands with Bobby Becker and Ben Main. Us three were around the same age, and we would always sit next to each other and watch Brooks high school games. Those were always really fun. So yeah, I've always enjoyed it, and I really loved my experiences at Bethel with those guys. We really had a good time together.
All right, give a shout out to some of your Bethel boys.
Yeah, let's just shout them out. Nick Haregrove, Jonah Rumbold, Elijah Virgil, Zach Collins, Hayden Brown, Mike and Jake Monroe, all those guys. Those guys were great. Loved playing with them.
Well, I got to back up a little bit.
Played with Nate Cannell for a little bit. We were really good when we had him. That was awesome.
Nate's a baller, without no question about it.
Yeah.
I got to back up for a second. Brett, give a shout out to some of your Bethel boys, and I know Lundeen, great ball player, good guy. Taphorn, Jake Morsch, maybe.
Yeah, he was younger than me, but I played with Jake. He's a good guy.
And of course Taphorn. Give a shout out to some of the guys that you balled with at Bethel and Morton.
Yeah, well, at Bethel was let's see, there was Cole Brunton, Zach Erickson, Christian Dullard, Mark Curtis, Mark Anderson. Pretty much, I think every kid in the 8th, 7th, and 8th grade played basketball at Bethel. I can't remember everybody, but we all did. My class was like we had Will Hayden, Bo Swinford, Cole Brunton played at Morton too. Then again, same with Christian. Tyler Lundeen. I played with. I dressed varsity my freshman year, so I played with them all. So I got a lot of people there. I'm gonna miss so many people, but yeah, a lot of good guys.
A lot will see this, but a lot won't. So
yeah, that's true.
A lot of text later. You didn't mention me, Brett.
Yeah.
Well, great. Hey, Brett, is there somebody that you just thought of during that you may have forgotten? I don't want you to get in no trouble.
I'm sure I missed a few. I'm sure I'm going to get a few texts about it.
Okay. All right. I got to go over to the baby of the bunch. Brandy, please take us back, because you had a lot to look up to.
Yeah, I sure did. Oh boy. Well, my Bethel days started running around the gym, running around the school, watching them three play. I can even remember those days, going back in the hallways and running out and seeing them play. But the earliest memories I have of Bethel are definitely with my dad, because he was my coach. And so I just remember, I look back and I just think, wow, I had a lot of attitude for somebody who's in 4th grade. I don't know how he dealt with me. But I remember there was this time we were working on press breaking, because in that 5th, 6th grade, pressing was like a big deal. If a team pressed, they were good, especially in the private school area. So we were working on our press break, and they were leaving the middle open every time. So then I just wung it there. Probably the 4th time we did it. My dad had told Meredith to go steal the ball because I wasn't looking. I was just throwing it. And then Meredith stole it, scored a layup. And I was like, did you even look? And I was like, oh yeah, I was looking. It was open. He's like, well, how'd she steal the ball then? I was like, I don't know. She's super fast. It was open. And me and him just went back and forth until finally he was like, you can just go run for the rest of the practice. And I was just on the sideline running down and backs for the rest of the practice. And I deserved it. I'll look back and I'll wear that one. I deserved that one. But yeah, we were pretty good when I was at Bethel. Let's think some of those people. We got Maggie Brennan at our 3 guard, just a sharp shooter. We had Addison Horton as our center. We had Ashley Bannon as our 2 guard, another sharpshooter. Katie Adams at our point guard. Lexi Collins and Molly Kruger at our 4. Those were some good defenders right there. I played a guard when I was at Bethel. I didn't grow until like my 8th grade year. And what we got 3rd place and 2nd place at state. Is that what we got?
Yep.
Yeah. So we were pretty good and we made a lot of good memories, but none of them played basketball in high school. They all quit. So I was the only one that moved on.
So you basically joined up with the Morton Junior High girls and from Blessed Sacrament, right? And
Yeah.
now you're going to go play for your older sister's coach, Bob Becker, and the success that it seems like every year they're just raising the bar every single year. So what was your mindset going to Morton High School, where your sister is one of the most storied players to ever play there, and your brother had huge success?
Yeah, well, me and Coach Becker, we went way back. When I was just a little kid running around at Brooks games, I always bothered him. He knew who I was, mostly because I never left him alone. I was telling him I had new plays he should be running, and the plays were like, Brooke, catch the ball, drive to the hoop, score. So I was just a huge innovator for the game. I take a huge part in Brooke's scoring with those plays. But I remember when I was going into high school, I was nervous because I felt like I had a lot to live up to because my siblings are so amazing. And like Coach Becker had come to watch me play at Bethel, and then I played really bad. And I was like, now he's not going to want me because he's going to think I suck. And so,
you weren't going to go to DMAC, were you?
No, I was going to Morton. I wasn't going to DMAC. Nah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure DMAC is crying the blues that Brooke didn't go.
Yeah, they missed out. What can they say? We wanted to go to Morton, but yeah, and I was definitely nervous because I've told you before, I was coming into a class with 8 seniors, and I was the only freshman. So that was a lot of old, scary people for one little girl. And one of the starters from the year before, Abby Cox, had torn her ACL. So then they put me at the center spot. And man, looking back, I was just a little twiglet. I was so skinny. But I mean, like Rick said, Bob really knew how to make you into the best player, the most versatile player that you can be. So I never thought I would be a post, but then I played the post for 4 years at Morton. And look at me now, I'm in college and I'm listed as a guard, but I played the post still.
Well, look at this. Your freshman year, I do remember that season. I believe that you guys lost in the regional to Washington.
Washington, you love to bring this up, don't you? You love
A bunch of sore
I'm not even going to elaborate on that, but that's the last time you lost in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of just building this up, Brandy. I'm not trying to browbeat you here, but you guys lost to Washington in the regionals, and then you never lost another game in the playoffs. You had a tremendous career, no doubt, and you three-peated, but you also get to share it with your older sister who's sitting very close to you. So what was that? I'll ask both of you this question. What was it like having that great run that you had? And then not only is your sister close, but your dad is at the scorer's table, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay.
Yep.
So what was it like? And then mom had to sit, Brett's off in upstate New York. Mom was sitting up there watching all of this unfold. So what was it like?
Yeah, it was definitely a great ride. My dad did not start out at the scores table. I want you to know that. He got put there. He got put at the scores table because he couldn't stop yelling at me during the games.
One time. Tell him why I yelled at you.
One time in a dead silent gym while I'm sitting there, and when I was in grade school, he used to say, "Merry Christmas," because that meant that there was a wide open drive, and it was Merry Christmas because they were giving you a gift. They were giving you the gift. And I didn't have a left hand. It might as well have not been there. I just had one move, and it was drive right and dribble fast. And so then it was in the Thanksgiving tournament, my freshman year, dead silent gym, no one's there. And I got a girl on me, and my dad just screamed, "Merry Christmas." And I just grabbed the ball, I picked it up, and I just looked at him. I just looked back, and I passed it.
That's not what happened. You went and made a layup.
No,
You
I
went
didn't.
and made a layup, Brandy.
You went and made a layup. Then you looked at me. Don't be changing the story. You went and made the layup, then you stared me down.
I would never give you that assist.
You need to see the film.
Ever.
Yeah,
Show me the film, Dad. I don't believe you.
yeah, well, Brooke's vouching for me.
I'm vouching because I turned and looked at you too, and I was like, and that's when Mom and I were like, behind the scorer's table he goes.
Next game,
Bob
next
came and
game.
gave me the scorebook after the game and said, "Merry Christmas."
Yeah. So, but back to the question. When he was actually at the scores table, I think that's one of the things that made it the most special for me was that the people who helped me get to where I was were the ones that were on the floor with me at the end of it. Obviously, Brett and Braden, my mom, weren't there, but I had part of my family on the court with me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just no feeling like that. Giving your dad and your sister a hug after that, it's just really special. And I'm glad I got to share that with them, even though it was a little rough start, Dad and Brooke.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect. I mean, I will be completely honest. Brandy and I struggled to be player and coach and sister. At the very beginning, we didn't get along at all.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, you'll have to attest, say your piece too, Brandy, but by the time she was a senior, like, it was great. We figured out how to work together, and because it can be hard. We're sisters. We saw each other all the time, and you don't always want to listen to your sibling. And so I think it was a difficult role for both of us to kind of get comfortable in and figure out how I could be a good support for her, but also be a coach. And I think we struck a really healthy chord. And to this day, like, it's probably, I don't want to say my favorite picture, but it might be my favorite picture is the one in the Journal Star that they posted after we won state of us hugging. Because I wouldn't trade, all of the bad that, like Dad just said, or Brandy said, we had a rough start. All the bad that happened at the beginning, gosh, it was so worth it. It was so special being able to enjoy the good and the bad moments with everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Two-time Journal Star Player of the Year and All-State and three-peat. I mean, despite the Washington loss.
Hey, it made us hungry. It's okay.
Made you hungry, and you had to eat, and you won. You got the three-peat. So,
yeah.
Mama and Papa Bisping, how many games were you watching a year? It had to have been, I don't even know. So that's why I'm asking.
It's a little embarrassing to answer because, when Brandy was wrapping up, someone asked us that, how many games have you sat through? And we estimated about 2,000.
Really?
Yeah, between the two of us, we figured we've probably sat through about 2,000 games watching the kids play. And we're not quite done yet. We're still adding to it, but we're nearing the end of that. But it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, it's been good. For a while, we were going separate directions, different kids,
Right.
places. And then finally, we started being able to go together and stuff. And that was funner too, to be together and enjoy it together. But you do what you have to do,
Gosh, the miles that you had to put on your vehicles, the wear and tear in inclement weather. So, yeah, but it was all worth it. I mean, look at all the money that you saved on college tuition, expensive college tuition. So
that's right. It's a blessing.
Very much a blessing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the kids, I will say, they worked hard.
Yep, they earned
They
it.
put a lot, they expect a lot of these kids, and they worked for that.
Oh, no doubt the hard work pays off, a testament of that. I got a couple of questions here from the base, from the fans. And you
Oh, we
guys
got
have
a
a lot of
fan
them
base.
Farewell.
Yep.
Bring them up.
from your base.
They want to know.
I'll go to Braden first. What was your greatest moment in basketball, or greatest moment as a family?
Like I was in the game the whole time. It was crazy because we were playing. Who was it? Maybe someone else remembers. I remember for our regional we were playing Limestone and I think Manual, and they were
There's
ranked
a manual, I think. Yeah.
They were like 2 and 4 in state that year, so we were just like, oh, it's like we're not winning this regional. But somehow, I mean, like I remember Corey Dollard and Jared Little, and and Ian Sadoff and Ike Stevens, Breck, all those guys had like really great games. And it was just incredible. I remember so many moments from those games, and yeah, it was just a really fun. I couldn't believe that we won the regional, and it was just like we were all in disbelief that we pulled that off. And yeah, that was my Journal Star moment. I remember got on the Journal Star with Jake Vickerman caressing my face as we celebrating. Yeah, that was really fun. I remember that one really well. It was really crazy. I just still can't believe we won that because we just we didn't have a great season or anything like that, but like they just really pulled together for that postseason, and it was really awesome to be a part of that.
I remember that. I watched it online. I got to back up for a sec. I didn't give Brandy a chance to give a shout out to some of the great players that she played with along the way.
You're right. I told you my Bethel ones, my girls. But I played with a million. Me and I were just talking about this, how I was so lucky because at Morton, I literally never had to play with less than 2 Division I basketball players from the moment I got there to the moment that I left. But my freshman year, I had 8 seniors, and we had Kate Byrne, Emily Schultz, Bella Jackson, Savannah, Maddie Kraft. And then I was, obviously Chandler was on that team, and Jaddison was on that team. Kayla McCormick. And then got into the more younger half of my career was then like Josie Becker and Tinley Dow, Maddie Becker, Lindsay Dollard, Courtney Jones. I don't want to forget anybody.
Kaylee Jones,
obviously, the sisters. I loved that we had sisters. That was always so fun. Such a fun dynamic to watch sister fights in practice. JC Warham was on there too, because we had Maddie and Josie, Kaylee and Courtney, and JC and Jaddison, and then me and Brooke. So we had a bunch of sisters. Wow. We were brawling for sure. But I had some great teammates for sure. I was lucky.
So out of you won 3 championships. What was your greatest moment?
My greatest moment.
Above all.
I think my freshman or my sophomore year, my first state championship, I think that one might be my favorite. They were all great in their own way, and I could tell a story about all of them. But that one was just like, it was us versus the world. No one thought we could do it. No one knew who we were, and everyone was surprised. And there was just
probably the Montini game, wouldn't you say? The mighty Montini.
Yeah,
and you guys
I got
dismantled
a quote from
them.
That one. Dave Kindred asked me, "What does the name Montini mean to you?" or something, and I just said nothing. Actually, I'm just the bravest girl in the world. But I mean, really, it was weird because for a team of people that no one really believed in, we really believed in ourselves, and we knew how to play together, and that was really special because that year we had Emma Heisler as our point guard. She was a bucket from the 3-point line. Then Jaddison, our 5'7" center, just going at it in the paint versus the 6'5" Montini girl. You could write a book about that matchup. That's a good one. Not letting her get a single rebound, unreal. But yeah, that was a good moment. I loved it.
Awesome. Okay. We already know that your worst game, or the game that you like to forget, is the Washington game. So we'll move on here.
Actually, I think I got a worse one. East Peoria, junior year.
Oh,
We scored 5.5 points.
you know what? I remember when that happened, I text Brooke and I'm like, what the hell happened? And she was like, Curly, I can't explain it. I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, okay. But at the same time, what happened? Because there's no video evidence. What happened?
Thank goodness. I did an interview after that game and I was real mad. And I said, I could have went out there and shot half court shots every possession and we would have scored more than that. I don't know what the heck happened.
Wow.
Yeah, we just did not. We were shooting from the outside. I remember that. Coach Becker was really mad that we weren't getting in the paint. We were chucking up the threes, just praying for him to fall. That if you said what's your most memorable game, that might be up there for me. I'll never forget that one. That gives me
If I
nightmares.
didn't put money on that game, I'd have lost everything that I own.
I remember that game because at halftime I was doing the book and I went out to get some popcorn or something, and Jim Matson was running in. He goes, "What's the score?" And I said, 22-5. And he goes, "Oh, I thought it might be a little closer than that." And I said, No, East Peoria is winning. I remember the look on his face was like, "Say that again?" That was a shocker.
Unbelievable. So
Yeah.
what's your most memorable and your least memorable?
My most memorable game. So it's hard. We were the first team to go to state. And so that's obviously very, very memorable. And the whole experience, we won one game at state. So it's not like we played spectacular. We set the record for the least amount of points scored in a game. So it wasn't like this awesome. We played awesome. That wasn't it. But it was just the experience and that, we worked so hard to get there. But if I had to say like the most memorable game, like I will never forget playing at Galesburg and when we went to overtime, and I just remember there were so many people there, like it felt like the roof was going to blow off. It was so loud. And it was just like the most fun atmosphere ever to play in. And sure, I was nervous, but it was more just like, oh my goodness, it was so awesome. So I don't think I'll ever shake that feeling of being in that type of atmosphere.
Is that the game where somebody from Galesburg banked in a three?
Half quarter.
Yeah.
Half court shot at the buzzer to go to overtime.
Yeah.
I remember that one. I actually remember that. I was in the student section. Some of your friends had thrown me in the student section. I remember it.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's probably the one that I remember the most. Probably the worst feeling I remember is it was my freshman year, and I won't lie, I was pretty scared of a lot. Like, we had all juniors, we didn't have any seniors, and I just remember like they were my idols. They were so cool, and they were so good at basketball, and I couldn't believe I was playing with them, and I just didn't want to let them down. And I honestly don't remember how far we made, if it was regional or sectional, but we were really good and we should have made it farther. And we have the chance to win the game. There's a few seconds left and we needed to break the press, and coach set up a play for me to catch the ball in the corner and shoot a three, and we'd win. And we broke the press beautifully. Sydney drove to the basket. Sydney Stallberg drove to the basket, passed me the ball. I was wide open. My person went in on Sydney, and I'll never forget the feeling of the ball coming into my hands and just going right out of my hands. And I felt like I could have just melted into the floor. Because I felt like I lost the game for us. I was so wide open. All I had to do was catch it and shoot, and I let the ball go out of bounds, and then we lost to Washington. So yeah, and that ended our season, and we really thought we'd go a lot farther. We had such high expectations for ourselves, but I think it was also a good turning point for us because, we were like, no, we're getting there next year. We're getting to state, and that was the year we went to state, my sophomore year. So, it was a good good teaching moment.
Right.
But I also remember that kind of was a bonding moment for my teammates because, like I said, I was a little scared of them, all season. But I remember, like, after the game, them all coming up to me, like, and saying, it's not about one play. Like, we all made mistakes. It's okay. And that was a growing moment for, me, and I felt like my relationship with the rest of them.
Awesome. Brett, most memorable, least memorable. Actually, go the less memorable so we can end on a positive.
No, that's a good idea. All right, least memorable. I remember we were playing Marist.
Chicago Marist. No,
what?
Marist.
It's
East Coast.
New York.
College.
Yeah, in college.
Okay.
Yeah, we were playing Marist, and we were up. I don't remember exactly, but it was something like up 8 or 10 points with about 12 seconds left, maybe 15 seconds left. And long story short, we lose the game. And I threw the last pass. That was a turnover that they caught and kicked out for a 3 to score the go-ahead point. And we were on, not only did we lose, but there was nothing else going on in the sports world that day. So we were on Sports Center for the wrong reason for about 4 hours. And oh my goodness, that was probably the worst. Yeah, that one took a while. We watched the film to make sure we wouldn't do it again. So that was a rough stretch. But didn't make that pass ever again. So on a high note, I'd say we played in a smaller postseason tournament called the CBI, College Basketball Invitational. We ended up winning that. The last game, it was a 3-game series to play in it. In the last game, we were normally playing at Times Union Center, which holds about 20,000 people. So it's not, it doesn't feel packed all the time, and it wouldn't have been full, but that had been booked and they weren't expecting us to play that long. So we played at in the women's facility where they play games, and it's a lot smaller, but it was packed. There wasn't even standing room inside, and the atmosphere was just so much fun. And we ended up winning, so that made it even better. So that's probably my favorite.
And you're being modest because I do remember you holding a huge trophy in your arms, and you were MVP of that, if I remember. And my memory's pretty good. So yeah, I'm not looking at a paper right now. I do remember that you were the MVP of that. Correct? Yeah. Being correct. Modest. So more power correct. To you, young man.
Yeah, thank you. That was a fun game though. Fun series.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but I have somebody that's very special to all of you. And he wanted me to say this to you. Okay. Hang on one second. First of all, he says, I did notice that Todd shot a mere 71% from the free throw line when he was in high school. He says it's a good thing that Brooke and Brandy had good coaching, as they were both nearly 85% free throw shooters. And then he says, all jokes aside, this family is first class. I love every moment with all the Bispings. They have had an amazing impact on Potter basketball, and more importantly, on so many of us people. I would just like to say thank you. And that's Coach Bob Becker. He wanted me to tell that to you guys. So
thanks, Bob. Feelings mutual.
What a guy.
Yeah, he's watching right now. So if you guys want to give a shout out to Bob Becker, please go ahead.
Hey, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for everything, Bob.
We are very blessed to have had you as a coach, and I am very blessed to have been able to coach with you.
I just want to say that one time my dad said, if you're not shooting 80% from the free throw line, you're just not trying. So I just want to put that out there because I didn't know that he shot 71%.
I didn't know that either.
So were you just not trying? Let's get an answer here. I just need to know. I just got to know what's going on.
Yeah, so as you know, Brandy, I've always taught you that you want to learn from your mistakes. But it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. And I decided after that embarrassing 71%, no offspring of mine would shoot less than 80. Because a free throw is like a layup, and the only reason you don't shoot 80 is if you don't practice enough. That's
Right
the
on.
answer to your question.
Right
Okay.
on.
Fourth in the
That's why you all
country
were
right now,
80%
so
plus
she's doing all
shooters.
right.
Yeah. Aside from that, love you, Coach Becker. You rock.
All right. Okay. At this stage, the Bisping name is synonymous with basketball. I've been saying that forever. And it's also synonymous with Morton. And would you guys like to give a shout out to some of the teachers that you may have, some of the, other administrators of Morton? It could be anyone. Is there anyone that you want to say? 'Cause I'm gonna put this on YouTube in the morning, and it will have legs, and a lot of people will see this.
Mhm.
So, is there anybody before we go that you want to say, give a shout out to? It could be a neighbor, it could be anybody.
I got to give a shout out to Coach Brown and Coach Crawford, and then Coach Overcash, especially Coach Overcash for taking us to McDonald's after all the games. But they really were a great influence on me and really toughened me up and taught me a lot.
I was going to say that too, Braden, but the other coach that I found very influential was Coach Grieve. If anyone can yell more than my dad, it's her. But gosh, I love her so much. She was a really good coach and taught me a lot of life lessons also. She was my volleyball coach. So, if I think back to who was an influential person in my life at Morton, Grieve was definitely one of those two.
Awesome.
Yeah, I split coaches in my high school, freshman and sophomore year. I had Coach Shupp and then Coach Brown for the last two, and those two guys were both very, very influential for me. And I've always found in my life so far, those that were toughest on me are the ones that I appreciate the most, the ones that I learned from the most, and helped me the most as time goes on. So thank you to those two. And that list goes on forever, but we don't have time to touch on everybody. Morton's a great place, and there's been, just a lot of people that are willing to give back. And I think that's why we're all trying to do that now.
Cool.
It takes a community, and Morton has been a great place to raise our kids. And Todd and I couldn't have done it on our own. A lot of people blessed us by pouring into our kids' lives, and we're very grateful.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have 4 kids as active as ours were without a lot of families dragging them places with them and taking care of them. And when they complain that they forgot something, and we don't even find out about that stuff. And so, we have a lot of friends, and we've made so many good friends over the years through sports. And, again, we could spend a long time naming names, but you know who you are. And thanks for dragging our kids around and having fun at the games with you. And just, the memories we'll treasure forever.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd give a shout out to all of my teammates' parents. They made a lot of food for me. They heard me complain a lot. They were there when I cried. They were there for it all. I'd also give a shout out to any of my teachers who ever taught me math. It wasn't my strong suit. So you guys are troopers. I love you guys. So,
but now you came through in your academic all conference, graduate with the master's in 4 years. They did you see?
I know, and I even had to take more than one math. So it's crazy. Your hard work paid off. But all my coaches throughout the time, Katie Gavin, the athletic trainer, like they said, I could sit here, we could make another hour-long video sitting here thanking everybody. But seriously, Morton was the best place I could have grown up. It was so amazing. And I look forward to going back to visit constantly, because I'm not moving back though.
Okay. Well, look here. I appreciate you guys wanting to come on. I tried to set this up for a couple of weeks now, and it was well worth it. It's good to see you, Linda, and Todd. And I gotta say, I'll never forget. I was at at a game at Galesburg. You guys were playing Galesburg. Brandy, this might have been your sophomore year. And all of a sudden, a lady came up to me. I didn't know her. And I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? And she said, you ruined my vacation. And I was like, I did what? You ruined our vacation. And I was like, okay. She goes, I'm Linda Bisping. I'm like, oh, how you doing? She goes, we just planned vacation. And Brandy and Brooke said, no, we can't. That's Curley Booze Camp. We can't go that week. No. Sorry. But later on, I was like, Brandy and Brooke, well, that's what I'm talking about. You know?
Got you.
So, you guys are a special family, and that's why I wanted to have you guys on. Thank you so much. Good to see all of you virtually, and I hope that I get to see you guys very soon. I wish you all the best. Braden, we got to meet. You know, I've never had a chance to meet you in person, but I know everyone else. God bless you guys. Good luck, and I will see you very soon.
Okay.
Curley,
Thanks, Curley.
Curley, thanks all you do.
Thanks, Curley.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome.
Thank you for being a great ambassador.
My pleasure, man. Y'all take
Have a great
care.
night.
Okay. Love ya.
See ya.
Hey, gang, that's Bisping Family Values. That's what I call it, called basketball. And this was so much fun to spend time with them this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we'll get going again. And I'm not sure what show that we'll do, but I'll let everybody know. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Peace.